Hello and welcome back to part 2 of How the Heck Do I Make Hamantaschen. In this particular episode, we are going to focus on how to shape and fill Hamantaschen. Hamantaschen is a filled cookie. You can fill it with any kind of jam, any kind of jelly. You can fill it with a hazelnut chocolate spread. Traditionally, we fill it with poppy seed. Now you may not be able to find poppy seed in your jam and jelly section. If not, go to the baking aisle. Quite often they'll have a small can in the baking aisle somewhere. Today I'm going to be using a blackberry seedless jam because I don't care for seeds. If you like seeds, it's fine to get a seeded jam. This is a boysenberry seedless jam. So you'll be all set, choosing 1, 2, 3. You could even put a few chocolate chips in the middle if you wanted to. So you're going to need your fillings, your dough, of course, which should be suitably chilled by now. You will need however many jams you have, that's how many spoons you want, and a place to put them on. Shortening, and a paper towel to wipe the shortening for greasing the pan, which leads us to, of course, a baking sheet, a rolling pin, a brush, which we will use to brush an egg wash on top of the cookies. Don't worry, I'll explain what an egg wash is later. 1 egg for said egg wash, and about 1 tablespoon of cool water, which we'll be adding to the egg to make that wash. You're also going to want a fork or a whisk to beat up the egg. If you don't know how to whisk an egg, check out our How the Heck Do I Whisk an Egg video. You're going to want a spatula. It can be either a small one, which most people have, or a large one, which really baking enthusiasts like me have. All right. For the shaping, you want a circle. Now this is kind of odd because when we are done making the Hamantaschen are going to be triangular. So you will want a 3 or a 4-inch diameter circle. If you don't have a circle cutter, that's fine. Find yourself a sturdy glass with a fairly thin rim, and you can just press down on the dough, twist a little bit, and that'll make the same shape. So, why are we using a circle when we're making a triangle? Because there is a technique to actually folding the dough and pinching it closed that will result in a triangle. Now, why are we doing a triangle at all? Well, that's kind of the part of Purim. Purim, bad guy, we talked about in the previous episode, Haman. According to legend, he wore a triangular hat, a tricorn. 1, 2, 3, 3 pointed. So we make these cookies in that shape to remind us of Haman. And, well, I guess eating his hat is sort of a revenge kind of thing. Who knows? No? No. Camera dude says no. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is take our flour, which in the last episode I suggested you leave nearby because we will be using that. The dough will stick to a surface. Take a little bit of our flour and we're going to sprinkle it onto our work surface. We're going to kind of smooth that around. Okay? If you don't like getting your hands dirty or floury, to me it's not dirty, it's just floured, you can use a small copper container to scoop out the flour and sprinkle it on top. Alright, so then you're going to go into your dough. Your dough is going to be hard. Break off a chunk, okay? About the size of a softball. You're probably going to have to squish it in your hands a couple times, as hard as you can, just to get that butter softened up enough so that you can roll it out. Press it down a little bit onto the floured surface. Pick it up. Fill in that spot with a little bit more flour. Flip it over. And then press it down again. Take a little more flour. Sprinkle just a little bit on top of the dough. And then you are going to roll it out. You want to roll it out to about 1/4 of an inch. You're going to press and then press, kind of make a cross press. And that way, you'll have it flattened a little bit so you can roll it out, okay? If the dough starts sticking to your rolling pin, just sprinkle a little more flour on it, okay? Now this is going to be a fairly thick dough because it is 1/4 of an inch, and you want to work pretty quickly because the colder dough will pinch together and seal in that jam a little bit better than a warmer, softer dough would do. So we are going to take our circular cutout or our glass, dip it into the flour just a little bit so it doesn't stick to the dough. And then we press down. You can twist if you'd like. And the reason I had you have the spatula is in case it does stick to the surface, you can just slide that spatula underneath. So this is what it should look like when you cut it out. Now, we want to put it onto our baking sheet. To do that, you want to get a little grease on because yes, there is scads and scads of butter in this particular cookie, but we still don't want it to stick to the pan. So we're just going to grease that pan very, very lightly. When you're done, you really shouldn't be able to see the grease. Although if you tilt it in the light, you'll see the shine. So when we have cut out that circle, we're going to put the circle onto the pan. Now you are going to take one of your fillings, or two, or whatever. You know, if you want to do the first pan's worth, all one flavor, so you remember what you put in it, that's fine too. All right, so we are going to fight the jam. I'm not fighting the jam, dude. You're fighting the jam. Here, my hands are greasy. All right, so now you want to open whatever you're going to put in there as a filling. You're going to put approximately 1 teaspoon worth of filling in the center of each dough round. If you're using a jam or jelly you really like and you get hungry, feel free to go ahead and make yourself a sandwich. All right. Now, how do we make the triangle shape? You are going to fold it like a towel. And then you are going to pinch the end quarter closed, okay? Leaving the rest of it open, so it almost looks like a waffle cone. Then you're going to take it so the round part is away from you and fold that up. And then you are going to pinch that closed. Now make sure you pinch it closed really well. I like to kind of fold mine down when I'm done pinching. Okay? You may pinch all the way closed so you don't have an opening at all, or you can leave it open so you can see a little bit of what's in there. As I said, make sure it is pinched thoroughly closed. If it is not, it is going to open up during the baking process, which doesn't mean you don't have a delicious cookie. In fact, it means more if you're not planning on giving it to anybody because you can just eat the bad ones. So again, taco, squish together the end quarter, turn it so it looks like a waffle cone, fold it up like that, and pinch together the edges. All right. Now, there you have Haman's hat, our tricorn. Now to give that a little bit of shine, while it's baking and after it's done, we're going to crack open one egg. We're going to beat that egg really quickly. We're going to add the water to that egg to kind of thin it out a little bit, because we don't want a scrambled egg on top of our Hamantaschen. We just want to get a nice little shine. So once that egg wash is done, we are going to take the brush, dip it into the egg wash, and just kind of brush all over the top of the Hamantaschen. Okay? Now, when you are done filling a pan and you are ready to cook, you're going to take it to your oven. Make sure you have the rack in the middle of the oven, and you will be cooking it, baking it for about 8 to 10 minutes. You want them to be slightly underdone because that will make them soft. Otherwise, you have really hard, teeth-breaking cookies. So start at 8 minutes, and if you need to cook them a little bit longer until they're a golden brown or a very, very light brown, you can cook them for a couple minutes longer. And that is how you shape and bake Hamantaschen. Good luck, and see you next time.